Hi. Do you know a real reason why species become extinct? A very good example of this can be found in Sri Lankan jungles that I recently came back from. In 1867, colonizers brought the first tea plant in Sri Lanka. At that moment, nobody in wildest dream could have thought that such a beneficial plant would become a mass murderer. Plantations have replaced tropical forest. In just 150 years, 97% of wet rainforest have been cut down. However, what interests us are the effects on life of those 3% remaining. So, different organisms have diversely adapted for new changes. Monkeys, elephants, and other migratory groups have simply moved from one fragment of the forest to another one. Birds have flown away. And what about amphibians? Frogs, for example, the subject of my research. These are non-migratory animals. They are mostly associated with small microhabitats. For example, one type of leaf on a plant may be the habitat for one species. They communicate between each other through metapopulations, which are series of small populations called demas that are connected. So it is understood that probability of extinction of this small group is real and relatively common in nature. But usually they are renewed by other immigrants from other local populations. But what happens when these immigrants simply do not exist due to physical barrier that cut the habitat, which is tea in this case? The gene flow stops. After a while, this leads to a genetic drift. This is a process where a frequency of group of genes called alleles change through generations. In other words, frog incest take a place in a population that counts no more than, let's say, 50 individuals. And also, this leads to a number of negative consequences. For example, they are easy prey for predators because they are all of universal color, sensitive to UV light and subject of a various infection. Actually, the nature ruthlessly eliminates them. 19 species of frogs in Sri Lanka already extinct forever. 47 it's endangered. And now you're surely wondering what will happen to them, even though frogs have never been your cup of tea, especially those from Sri Lanka. But science has a solution. It's called ex situ, which involves careful and accurate collection of best specimens that are grown in artificial conditions. And then hatchlings will be returned into the habitat that is sustainable. And actually, this is how new gene flow comes into the small population. So, as you're all responsible global citizens, I'm sure you want to do something about this. The answer is breeding center in Sri Lanka in perfect natural conditions. So help us make this happen. Thank you.